before the Grammys, before the Pulitzer Prize, before he stood on a Super Bowl stage in front of 100 million people and reminded the world who the greatest was. There was a nobody. And this kid, 22 years old, 0 platinum records, 0 industry cosigns, 0 reason for anyone in that building to believe a single word coming out of his mouth, to cross that table and said he was going to be mentioned alongside the greatest rappers who ever lived. The journalist wrote it down and then wrote, "Many young artists say this. Few make it come true." His name was Kendrick Lamar. Since day one, since the first time he touched the pen, he already knew. The world had no evidence. The industry had no interest. Nothing about where he came from suggested the story would end this way. The most successful people alive are not operating on evidence. They are operating on a decision they made before the evidence existed. Decision is available to you right now, today. There was a boy, skinny, 17 years old, from a tiny island called Madeira that most people could not find on a map. No money, no connections, but full of dreams. He was going to be the best footballer who ever lived. Not one of the best, the best.
In my mind, I'm always the best. I don't care what the people are thinking.
5 Ballon d'Or trophies, over 900 career goals, the most followed human being on Instagram. When Ronaldo said he would be the best, he was not describing reality. He was deciding it. Here is the thing about the world that nobody ever puts into a textbook. Reality is not something that happens to you. It is something you negotiate with. Here is something they never taught you in school. The dictionary defines delusion as a belief held with strong conviction despite evidence to the contrary. But evidence of what? Evidence based on who? Evidence based on what someone else already did in a world that no longer exists? Record ever broken was impossible right up until the moment it was not. Every invention that changed civilization was dismissed right up until the moment it worked. The evidence was never the problem. The belief was always the variable, which means the only question that actually matters: willing to believe before you have any proof. Science has a name for what happens when you are too realistic. It is called depressive realism. Research shows that people experiencing depression actually perceive the world more accurately than people who are not. Let that sit with you. The people who see reality most clearly are the ones who struggle most to move through it. Which means that your relentless, grinding, suffocating realism, the voice that tells you to be practical, to be sensible, to be responsible, might not be wisdom. It might be a symptom. Successful people on this planet are not operating in reality. They are operating slightly above it, in a space where what doesn't yet exist feels more real than what does.
I am a god. Everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was. A god. I just told you. That's who I think I am.
Strip away everything you think you know about Kanye West. Strip away the headlines. Strip away the controversy. Strip away every opinion that was handed to you by people who needed you to have it. And just hear these 4 sentences. Everyone is born confident, and everything is taken away from you. Read that again slowly. You were not born without belief. You were not born without confidence. You were not born thinking small. You were born knowing. And then the world got to work. Your parents, your teachers, the kids who laughed at you, the adults who told you to be realistic, the system that needed you manageable, brick by brick, limit by limit. Year by year, they built a ceiling inside your mind, and convinced you it was always there. It was not always there. It was installed. Kanye also said, "I just think that when my confidence meets other people's insecurity, that equals Kanye's arrogant." That one sentence reframes everything. Every time someone called you delusional, they were not describing you. They were describing themselves. Their fear meeting your freedom. Their ceiling meeting your sky. Their insecurity meeting your certainty. And then he said this, "Be humble. Be humble." When was the last time someone told you to be great? Think about that. Every message you have ever received about who you are supposed to be has been about shrinking. Be humble. Be realistic. Be patient. Be grateful for what you have. Be reasonable. Be sensible. Be safe. Nobody pulled you aside and told you to be great. Nobody sat you down and said, "The world actually needs you to believe in yourself completely." And last, Kanye said he was too busy writing history to read it, not studying what came before, not waiting for permission from the past, not measuring his future against someone else's ceiling, operating so completely in his own vision that history was something he created, not something he consulted. That is not arrogance. That is what it looks like when someone refuses to let the past set the terms for their future. Your delusion has to be yours. Chosen, deliberate, unapologetic. So rooted and so personal that no amount of outside noise can reach where it lives. That is when belief stops being delusion and starts being architecture. 3 things. That is all that separates the people in this video from everyone who watched from the sidelines. First, they decided before the evidence, not after the contract, not after the deal, not after someone gave them permission. They decided first, and the evidence reorganized itself around that decision. Ronaldo decided at 17 in Madeira. Kendrick decided before anyone was listening in Compton. Decision always came first. Always. Second, they protected their belief like it was the only thing they owned, because it was. Every person who ever tried to make you realistic wasn't trying to help you. They were projecting their ceiling onto your sky, their fear onto your future, their limitations onto your potential. You are allowed, you are entitled to believe in a version of yourself that doesn't yet exist in the physical world. That is not delusion. That is creation. Third, their actions matched their belief, because belief without action is just a feeling, and a feeling without movement is just another thought that disappears by morning. Ronaldo trained like the trophies were already on the shelf. Kendrick wrote like the Pulitzer was already framed on the wall. None of those stories made sense from the outside looking in, but they all shared one thing. One single irrational, stubborn, beautiful thing. They decided. Before the evidence, before the applause, before anyone else believed, they decided. And the world had no choice but to catch up. So the next time someone looks at your dream and calls it delusional, smile. Because they just told you that you are thinking at a frequency they cannot yet receive. Build anyway. Believe anyway. Decide anyway. The evidence is already on its way.